comfortable. So I think the team that wins this game is the team offensively that screws up the least, right? The Packers have a whole new, wide receiver group out there, and a taped together offensive line. Hopefully they hold their own like they did last year. And the Vikings have, a brand new coach, a brand new scheme, a brand new everything kind of at the, front office, if you will. And I think whichever one of those versions looks the best in week one is going to allow their defense to look a little bit better and therefore win the game. And frankly, I'm just a little bit nervous that since we are so effective, or we were so effective throwing the ball, I'm just nervous that our shakeup is going to be kind of a more of a ripple effect than their shakeup, at least in week one.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree. So is that your sort of key to success for the offense, is just don't beat yourself?
Exactly. Don't beat yourself. And honestly, possess the ball. Like this should be old school. Last year we were like ranked 15th, so right in the middle for run to pass ratio. Let's keep that up. I mean, we need to be, like I said last time, we need to change our identity or keep our identity to be more of a run pass balance team, which a lot of people don't realize because, we just hear the headlines that we throw to Devontae Adams all the time. If we can possess that ball and keep their offense off the field and keep that defense tired, I think that's it right there. No singular player, no singular, position, but just possess the ball, keep it simple, and let's just limit those turnovers and win, I think, a lower scoring game if we win.
Okay. And mine is protect Aaron Rodgers. Just give him time, give him opportunity to make decisions and, get the ball out quickly, hopefully, but, enough time where, we can maybe hit some of those deep routes from Christian Watson. My player for this game is Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
And, he's healthy, and that's usually a question mark for him, but he's usually healthy week one. In the and here's a stat I heard, and I thought it was really interesting. In his last 3 regular season openers, Sammy Watkins has 20 receptions for 376 yards. It's over 100 yards a game, and 4 touchdowns, over 1 touchdown a game. So I think if he can have a strong debut, like we've seen from him in the past, and now with the Packers, hopefully, that can help our offense a little bit.
And do you think he does that being the number 1 receiver tomorrow on Sunday? And I'm not saying like most targets. I'm saying like when you look at a playbook, right? There's usually there's a route designed to be your number 1 option. Is he that guy, or do you put Romeo or Christian? Well, you already said Christian, and Romeo probably not. But is he who we're left with then?
I guess I don't know. I mean, the last couple of years, he's been with Baltimore, Kansas City, so not the number 1 option on either of those teams. So I think he's in those cases a secondary, or third option. But he can just be reliable. He, you can trust him. He can catch the ball. He just can't stay healthy, which we've seen the last couple of years. So I think he can get those numbers being Aaron Rodgers 2 or 3 this week.
But like literally, who's number 1 on Sunday? If Lazard can't go, right? Like who's number 1?
God, I don't know. I mean, I think my instinct would say Randall Cobb, but hopefully, if he can play well, it's Romeo Doubs. And I mean, have a good game. I don't want our number 1 receiver on Sunday to have 4 catches for 70 yards. That would be disappointing. But if Romeo Doubs can come out and have a strong debut and catch 8 passes and have a score or 2, and I mean that would be, how cool would that be to see in his NFL debut?
Yeah, and so I think that kind of transitions well to my my player to watch, my key player to success. And that's going to be Jair Alexander, because I just don't see our offense clicking, just because we literally couldn't even pick a receiver who might take Lazard's spot, who's not even really a number 1 receiver. So I just think all that change is just, I think this is going to be a messy game. I think we're going to see a lot of frustration on Aaron Rodgers' face. And I think as long as Alexander can keep Justin under control, let's call it 90 yards and no touchdown, like you said, I think then we have a really good chance of winning, again, a low scoring game. And I think that right there might be a good pivot to our picks, unless you want to hit something else before we hit our picks of the game for the game.
No, let's get to it.
Well, you guys all probably already listened to our schedule preview, and we've already picked this game, but we didn't go into as much detail. Just for some context, the Packers are favored on the road by 1.5 points, and the over/under for number of total points scored is 47 points. Marcus, we already know your answer from the last episode, but you had the Packers winning already. But what do you see this game being? Do you see it being close? Do you see it being a wide margin, a low margin? I guess who do you got in this game?
Yeah, I've got a close game. I think it's going to be, I'm just really hoping for a fun game. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be super low scoring. I've got the Packers winning by 4, 27-23. So, a couple of touchdowns from each team, maybe a defensive touchdown, or a special teams touchdown.
Pick the player right now.
Rasul Douglas.
Don't say special teams touchdown, because that's not going our way.
Exactly. So, yeah, I agree. I think the offenses are gonna not struggle is the wrong word. I think they haven't coalesced yet, but so we're gonna see some frustration, I think, from both quarterbacks. But I do have them winning 27-23 against the Vikings on the road, and over the 50.
Well, I'm praying you're right, because I unfortunately have the Vikings winning. I have them winning 24-17, which would be under the 47 points. And that just goes back to what I've been saying this whole time. I think it's going to be sloppy for both teams offensively. But, I already mentioned the one stat, but Justin Jefferson's over-under is 82.5 yards. Dalvin Cook's is 71.5 yards. I think both those guys go over. And I think if both those guys go over those, those proxies, those bets, I just don't see us keeping pace. So I unfortunately have us falling to the Vikings, which will be very, very, very sad that next week until we can right the ship. But Marcus, I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. And I guess the one, one of the benefits of working from home is I don't have to see any of those Vikings fans in person anymore. I'm sure I'm going to get pinged and messaged, but I can ignore those. So. Yeah. All right. Well, what about other games to watch? You and I had the pleasure of watching the season opener together last night, Bills-Rams, where the Bills came out and looked just as, I guess, every bit as good as people thought they were going to be. But they dominated the defending Super Bowl champions, which, again, week one is weird. The Rams aren't going to be a bad team. They played a bad game, but, again, it gives me hope, and just want everyone to remember that whatever happens this weekend, it's not the end of the world, and it certainly isn't going to dictate the outcome of the season. So that said, are there any other games you're interested in watching this week, division or in the conference?
Yeah, I guess, we're playing the Vikings, so usually I'm interested in the division. I don't really care about the Bears and Lions right now. It doesn't feel like that's a threat. I think you brought up the point before we started recording. It's going to be fun to see Devontae Adams, see how good he is without Aaron Rodgers. So I believe the Raiders are playing the Chargers, which is another divisional game. So a lot of divisional games week one in the NFL. But that'll be very fun to watch. I think that's going on at the same time as us, so I guess we won't be watching it unless you have dual screens at your house. Do you have dual screens yet?
Dual screens. I not really. I can have one game on my computer, I guess, and one game on the TV, but
no, we got to be 100% focused for the first game of the year. Marcus, what we haven't done enough this episode? We haven't expressed how freaking excited we are for week one against Minnesota in Minnesota. Let's freaking go.
Let's go.
I'm going over to your place to watch the game. That has brought us no luck, basically, since we've known each other. But if we keep doing it, it's going to change. That trend's going to change, right?
It's got to.
Love it. Well, that does it for us today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Green and Golden Boys Packers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast service. And as always, go Packers.